Would you kindly rise to salute the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Last meeting we had to cancel because I was sick and another member was out of state on business, so we didn't have a quorum. So consequently, we've had to double up tonight. So with that said, I'm going to ask for your indulgence. Number one, when we get rolling, I'm going to ask for public comments. At that point, and only at that point, will I accept any comments from the audience. We're going to be going through the warrant tonight, and the warrant is for the annual town meeting that will be held next Monday evening. That's when the debate and vote will take place on any of the articles. The question before us as selectmen tonight is how we stand on the particular articles. It's not to debate whether we're going to approve it or not, it's what the selectmen would recommend. So with that said, when we get to public comments, I'll ask for if there's anybody who wants to say anything. If I hear nothing or you're finished with that, when we get to the warrant articles, that's it. We're going to debate it amongst ourselves because we've got too much going on tonight. With that said, the annual town meeting is next Monday, April 1st at 7 p.m. at Abington High School. The selectmen will meet at 6 p.m. prior to, and therefore, because of that, we'll be canceling our meeting on April 8th. Prior to that, for your edification, the town moderator and the town manager are doing a presentation on CAM TV, Abington CAM TV, in terms of what's on the warrant. So if you're interested, please tune into that in the ensuing week, and CAM will be rerunning those episodes. In addition, there's an article on the warrant relating to the MBTA zoning that has been getting quite a bit of play in other communities, and I know Liz Shea in the planning board has a conversation on that topic that is currently on the planning board's webpage, but again, to educate yourself in terms of what's coming up before town meeting, those are two videos that you can watch and certainly derive a lot of information in regards to it. Are there any other public announcements from the members of the board? If not, the other thing I do have to mention statutorily is Kevin DiMaggio, Selectman Kevin DiMaggio, is joining us by Zoom. Therefore, in accordance with the statute, any and all votes that we take will have to be by roll call. With that said, are there any public comments from the audience relating to anything that is on the agenda? Going once, twice. As the vicar says, speak now or forever hold your peace. So, okay, very good. Approval, action, discussion items, approval of the minutes, February 26, 2024. Is there a motion from the board?
I make a motion. Motion
made. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call, Mr. DiMaggio.
Yes.
Mr. Justberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
And I vote yes. The next item on the agenda is the police chief introducing the new deputy police chief. So, Chief Del Pepper, and if you would kindly bring up the new deputy police chief.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the time. I'm going to keep it brief. I know you have a full agenda. I just wanted to introduce our new deputy chief, Jeffrey Postel, who was sworn in today. Give you a little background on him. Deputy Postel brings over 20 years of law enforcement experience with him to our department. Began his career in law enforcement in 2002 as a police officer with the Murphy Police Department in Murphy, North Carolina. You're going to notice the accent. From there, Deputy Postel served as a police officer with the town of Silver Police Department in Silver, North Carolina, as a deputy sheriff, a school resource officer for the Jackson County Sheriff's Office in Silver, North Carolina, before returning back to the town of Murphy Police Department as its assistant chief of police. Additionally, during his time in North Carolina, Deputy Postel also served as a community police officer, patrol supervisor, and a detective. Upon moving to Massachusetts, Deputy Postel served as a captain for the Lesley University Department of Public Safety, and most recently as a lieutenant for the Boston College Police Department, overseeing its Bureau of Operations and Patrol Services. During the course of his career, he's also worked in some of the following capacities: Public Information Officer, Drone Unit Commander, Fleet Manager, Accreditation Manager, Grant Writer, Web Designer, Field Training Officer, Operations Division Commander, and he is an assessor with the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission. Beyond his extensive experience in service in law enforcement, Deputy Postel is well known for his, best known for as the rookie police officer who in 2003 arrested serial bomber and domestic terrorist Eric Rudolph, one of the FBI's top 10 most wanted. To say we're excited to have Deputy Postel on board with us would be putting it mildly. I'd like to introduce him. And
Very good. Well, welcome. Come right up, Deputy. First question, if you've been in BC, then you understand when we say car, what we're saying.
I understand. Yeah. It took a little bit of time, but it has definitely I've definitely picked up on it.
Very good.
No, I appreciate it. Town Manager Lambiase, members of the Board of Selectmen, my colleagues in municipal government, and the residents of the town of Abington, and to the Chief, I appreciate the grateful opportunity to serve this community. I look forward to the weeks, months, and years to come to continue championing a collaborative partnership with the community, with the support of the town. And as I mentioned, I am very grateful for this opportunity. I'm humbled by it, and I certainly look forward to working with my friends in municipal government as well as the residents of this wonderful town in the future. I'm confident with the leadership and with the members of this department. We will continue being a department that will be well represented and respected for many years to come. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it with quite a busy agenda. And if I can be of any assistance or service, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, and welcome to Abington.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. Secondly, we have the town planner and the assistant town planner, Lachey, coming up with planner Kevin Cogan.
So in the spirit of introducing new employees, I would like to, where'd he go? Oh, he's disappeared already. I would like to introduce you all to Kevin Cogan. He is the deputy town planner. He's been on board for a couple of months now, taking on some of my tasks, which is fabulous. So he's picked up a couple of grants that I was working on, so I can leave most of it for him and pursue other things. But so very excited to have Kevin on board, and I'll let him say hi.
Very good. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi, my name's Kevin Cogan. I just started in January. I'm working on the Affordable Housing Trust, among other things. I'm working to secure some grants for the town through the One Stop portal. And I'm also been working really hard with Liz on MBTA communities.
Good.
And doing some visualizations and mapping and PowerPoint slides for that. So, yeah, I'm really eager to continue to learn more about planning. I came from a world of transportation planning. So this is town planning's kind of, sort of marinating a little bit more to me now. So,
very good. Well, thank you and welcome
Yeah.
again. Very good. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, and while I'm here, I know you're going to go over the warrant articles later, and I'm just going to ask you for your support of the MBTA community article, if you feel it's appropriate. We can use all the support we get when we get to town meeting.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, the fire department overview. Chief Glenn. Chief, the town manager tells me he apparently has I didn't realize he's pretty good at history, and he tells me you're the 16th chief of the fire department. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Chairman Donovan did yeoman's work on the history of Abington Fire Department, and I found that out. So I'm glad to be 16 rather than 13.
Who was the first chief?
Augustus Wright.
Very good. All right.
Did a little study.
You passed.
Yeah, I had a feeling I might get a pop quiz.
Go ahead.
So you wanted me to address everybody with the FY25 budget, so just to give you a real brief thing, because I know you have a busy night. We were asked to turn in a level services budget, which we did. Had a couple of challenges with the cost of things, particularly the repair costs for the vehicles, parts, EMS supplies. We haven't been able to increase that budget in a long time. We were looking forward to trying to get that increase, but with the financial constraints the town has, and we wanted to work together with everybody, we weren't able to do that, but we're going to monitor that real closely. We have all positions filled right now except for one. Rob Neumeister just retired. We're hoping to have it filled before the fiscal year, obviously. So we're working on that, and our newest firefighter that replaced Chief Nuttall is actually going to be graduating April 5th from the Brockton Fire Academy, and from what we're hearing from the progress reports, he's doing fantastic. So we're very proud of him. He'll be out soon. In regards to any type of challenges that we have going forward, there's a couple of things that we've been monitoring the last year or so, with Brockton Hospital being closed. Some of the things we're seeing is extended times at the hospitals. Sometimes with one of the area hospitals, our crews bring an advanced life support patient there. They may be upwards of 45 minutes to an hour before they can even get the patient off their stretcher. The hospital's doing the best they can. I got an update recently from some members of Brockton Fire, and they're telling us that Brockton Hospital's moving along faster than we thought. We're going to hope for the best on that. The other thing that we're running into a little more, and we're going to be seeing it a lot more in our everyday life, is lithium-ion batteries and issues with that. That'd be laptops, the cell phones, anything we recharge, batteries for leaf blowers, anything along those lines, and particularly the electric vehicles. We did a lot of training recently. These are going to be time-consuming calls, and that's something we have to kind of keep an eye on with it. I won't bore you with all the details with it, but it's just something we're working on. As far as the capital expenditure stuff, the big item for us is a new engine. We put in for one this year. Very, very difficult to get one within 2 to 3 years from the time you order it. That's how backlogged they are. Depending on what company you go through, they're talking 4 years, possibly 5 years now. Other communities have gone through it, so what we've done is we actually have a meeting tomorrow to try to work on some of the details with one of the vendors to have everything in place, ready to go. And we've been pulling specs from other departments and gone through what they have. That's our hope, is to go forward if we can get an engine ordered. It may be in the pipeline for a couple of years, but at least we have it ordered, and we're going to, continue to work on and maintaining the vehicles we have through our interdepartmental mechanic, as well as Marcus Buckley at the town DPW, who's phenomenal. He's just fantastic. So those are our big items as far as that goes. But as far as the operating budget, it was a level services budget. We had to kind of tweak a few things along the way with the town manager and with Andrew, like everyone else went through as well. But going forward.
How, in relation to calls for service, as it relates between the ambulance and especially now, it seems that the ambulance calls seem to be doubling up. Have you experienced, I guess, is that becoming more the norm, or is it the exception?
I think it's become the norm. We're just so busy. Last year, I think we hit 3682 was our total calls last year, highest year we've ever had. This year, we're on pace to top 3,700. The ambulance calls kind of running at the same pace. Ambulance revenues, it's the same as far as, the amount that we're getting back in based on what needs to be through the collections company that we use. So everything's it's just increasing slowly. It is. There's not any drastic change. The biggest thing is that the drop-offs at the hospitals right now, that's the biggest thing, but we're just incredibly busy.
Has Brockton got an estimation as to when they may be opening?
What I was told, and we're always pessimists, like that movie, The Money Pit, 2 more weeks. We spoke with someone over there, and they told us that possibility of this summer. I wasn't as optimistic until I went over, and I was actually able to see behind the building. They extended the footprint, their power systems for everything that was inside the building before, and we were told that was going to be the big holdup. It's completely built out. So from what I understand, they've gutted the building from the top floor down. It's definitely a better possibility going forward now than I would have thought a year ago. Yeah. So they're moving hard on it, but like anything else, who knows? It's out of our control.
Yeah. Interesting. Any questions for the chief from anybody? No. Mr. Damasio?
Any questions? Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Welcome. And Mr. DiMarzio had a real nice gesture for the fire department that was supposed to be anonymous, but the anonymous gesture was appreciated. Had a tough week on a couple of calls, and he reached out to us, so thank you, sir.
Definitely. Anytime.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. John Stone, DPW Director.
I have handouts.
Love handouts.
Let me look at John.
We normally look at it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
It's gonna be going over our PowerPoint real quick, we'll make it snappy.
And
It's just it's a PowerPoint of upcoming projects, ongoing projects, and maybe a couple past projects.
I'm making you host now. Don't forget to make me host before you log out, though.
There we go. Thank you, Kelly. The first subject I was going to touch on was intersections. On the second page, you'll see Old Colony Planning Council did a study a few years back of the dangerous intersections in Abington, and you'll see a couple of the ones we're working on at 1, 3, and a little bit further down. If we go to the next slide, Kelly. Thank you. Hancock and Chestnut Street, we received a grant through the state's transportation improvement program in the amount of around $5 million. It's slated for federal year 2026, which would be about October of 2026. That's when we'll be breaking ground. The project's going to include, as you can see on the screen, a roundabout. This concept was approved by this board, I think in 2016, if I remember correctly, but that's the gist of it right there. It's going to be similar to the one at North Quincy and Chestnut Street. I don't know if you've driven down there. It seems to work out pretty well once people get the hang of it. This particular intersection project will also include elevation changes. We're going to take down about 3 or 4 feet of the hill, build up the middle, and make it less of a slope, less dangerous. And it'll also include pedestrian facilities and new bike facilities. So that's 2026. Our engineer is working on 75% design as we speak. What do we have next? The Washington Street sidewalk, this is a project we finished last year. It connected new sidewalk from Legion Drive to the second exit of the Beaver Brook with 2,000 feet of concrete sidewalk, ADA curb compliant ramps, and other items, lumen seed, all the backfill to make people happy, the homeowners happy. I think it came out really good. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to see it, but it came out really nice. Washington Street and Adams Street and Shaw Ave, we applied for a grant through the Shared Streets and Spaces program. I was wrong, it wasn't Complete Streets, it was Shared Streets and Grants. We're looking to tighten up that intersection. There's a lot of accidents there. It's dangerous. We have an example of what I would like to do there. Next page, Kelly. Oh, it doesn't show it? All right, well, we're looking to tighten up the intersection, get rid of that one little small entrance, so people can't go 2 different ways. They can only go one way. That's the theory, to prevent accidents. We haven't heard, we're hoping to hear by February if we were getting awarded the grant, but we haven't received word yet. Hopefully soon. On can we go to, Old Randolph Street, Chestnut Street, and 139. This is rated the most dangerous intersection in town, and we received a grant for the state's transportation improvement program. I think this is in the amount of about $4 million, if I remember correctly. And this project is slated for federal year 2028. It got approved by the OCPC. They're going to fund it, but we just got to wait till 2028. And this particular project will include traffic lights and geometrical realignment of the intersection. It is a very hazardous intersection for those who have driven down it. What else we have? Old Randolph and Thicket Street. We got a grant for that last year. That's a huge upgrade to the town. We had people driving down the wrong direction on Old Randolph constantly. We tightened up the intersection, new sidewalk, new pedestrian facilities, new electronic speed signs. So I think the project was successful. I think everyone likes it. The homeowners like it. Next month, we'll be working on upgrading the lights at 123 and 58. The equipment and components were installed in 1998, if I remember correctly, but they're due for an upgrade, and that project was funded through town meeting a couple of years back. But they'll be working up there shortly. You'll see activity soon. Next slide, Kelly. Bridges. Central Street Bridge is done, come out good. The state was just there inspecting it last week. For those of you who don't know, it was given a grade of about 3 or 4, depending on the segment of the bridge through the state. We had to make changes and rehab it before they shut it down. So that's done. It took a little bit longer than we liked, but it rained half the summer, so. And if you see in those slides right there, you'll see the top left slide is a beam we took out of the old bridge. And if you notice, like, it wasn't gonna last for much longer, maybe another year. It was decrepit, the rebar showing, it was cracked, it was in horrendous shape, a lot worse than they thought. So I'm glad that project's over with, and I'm sure the community is glad that that's over with. Then we have the Center Ave Bridge. We were awarded a grant through the Small Bridge Program in the amount of $350,000 for construction, and that'll be taking place this summer. It's just rehab. We're not gonna have to shut the whole road down. It's just rehab of the parts that are insufficient. But it's a grant, won't cost the taxpayers anything. So that'll be taking place this summer. They're working on design now. We were awarded a grant for $100,000 for design too, so the total amount of the grant was $450,000. So that's not gonna cost us anything, and it will be a lot less intrusive than the Central Street Bridge. As you can see, there's some pictures of the Center Ave Bridge, the cracks. But this won't require a total beam replacement, so we don't have to close the whole road. But there's some pictures there. Next slide, Kelly. We can go to Walnut Street. We'll be upgrading the Walnut Street pump station. I don't know if you guys might know where it is. It's between the Whitman line and Summer Street. The pump station was installed in 1998, and town meeting approved a rehab project in the amount of about $500,000, if I remember correctly. And they'll be working on that this summer, hopefully this summer. We already awarded the bid in the amount of $584,000, and there's the schematic there for anyone who's interested. It's in your packet. Let's see. Also included in the packet is a updated road rating list. We're not sure what we're gonna do this year. It depends on funding. We'd like to work on Washington Street, continue that, maybe sidewalk, maybe resurfacing the road itself. We're not sure. It's up in the air at this point. But I think we need to get started on some of the bigger roads, focus on some of the larger roads, the main roads, the heavier traveled roads than the small roads, because they're starting to break up a little bit. But we updated the road rating. All right, let's see.
And in the rating, that means the lower the score, the worse it is?
Correct. Correct. Snow and ice, this is just an update for those who want to see where we stand. We didn't get a lot of snow, obviously. I think we were out a total of 4, 6, 8, 12 times or so, mostly just salting events, a couple plowing events thrown in there. We didn't spend too much money, but this is just a breakdown of everything we spent. Go to the next slide, Kelly. Here's the next slide. We'll show our updated fleet list. Scott, Andrew, and the Finance Committee and this board has been working on getting us new equipment over the last several years, and it's greatly appreciated. Tree removal, if we can go to that, the next slide, Kelly. These are just, this is just a list we took, of trees we took down last year. 32 total trees, dangerous trees.
Does the utility help in any way on any of this stuff, on the trees?
Yes, they do. National Grid, yes, they do, definitely. What do we have here, Gil? This is a sewer rate survey. We try to provide this to you guys every year, as well as the Finance Committee. Shows where we stand sewer rate-wise compared to other communities, those communities that participated in the survey anyway. As you can see, we're pretty good, 46th place out of 59 of the participating communities. So we like to stay around that. We haven't touched the rates in a while, so we'd like to keep it that way. If we go to the next slide, Kelly. This is just a list of the stormwater activities taking place throughout the coming year that we're mandated to do by permit through the EPA and DEP. We'll be putting one of the best management practices out here in the parking lot for people to, it's part of the permit, we have to do it, we don't have a choice. We'll be putting one at Arnold Park as well. It'll be like a detention swale with a kiosk showing, like, I don't know, like the wetlands and how good the wetlands are to the community and that type of thing. So it's good stuff. At some point, we're gonna need to bulk up our workforce. Here's where we stand to comparing communities, 16 total staff of full-timers. And if we can go to the next, did we go to the next slide? This is the per capita slide. So this is amount of full-time DPW employees based on 5,000 people in the given community. So we're at 4.6 full-time employees per 5,000 people. We're third lowest out of the surrounding towns. That's something we're gonna need to focus on moving forward, because we're stretched so thin. We can't add anything else to our plate right now. If we add something else to our plate right now, something has to come off. That's where we stand. So over time, I know this isn't a good fiscal climate this year or next year, but going forward, this is something that everyone's gonna have to keep in mind. We're retaining some of our key employees, but that comes with the caveat that they get more vacation time. So we're trying to juggle and balance that. It's not easy. These guys work hard every day. We definitely need more help at some point when the finances get better. And that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, John. Questions on the board?
Doing a great job, John.
Thank you. I have tremendous people that work for me.
You're a great staff.
Just not enough of them. Someday, though.
Very good. Thanks very much, John.
Thank you.
Okay, number 5, overview of the proposed community preservation budget. Amanda, somebody?
Hi, happy Monday. Amanda Petty, I am the chair of the Community Preservation Commission. You should have our warrant article with the budget there. Would it be easier just kind of walk through the projects?
Yeah, just briefly,
Sure.
if you could.
Yeah. So real quick, starting under the proposed appropriations, we have the community preservation expense that we have to set aside. We don't really touch much of that every year, but that is something that's required. Next up is open space and recreation bucket. We have, first of all, a reminder that all of these projects were applications that have been submitted by either community members, department heads. The CPA committee does not go out and do these. These are heavily from the community that come to us, and then we review them based on, the state regulations and what the community needs. So we're always really excited when we get lots of applications. This is my 3rd year, and each year we're getting more and more. So I just want to point that out real quick, that anyone can submit come next year. Next, we have the open space recreation budget. First is the Green Street Playground for $60,000. Next is this is the final phase for the the Island Grove Playground is going to be down near the beach. That's for $50,000. The next is the Beaverbrook Playground, the final phase for $75,000. For the Memorial Field Complex, phase 1, there's two different things with that, but initially it would be $300,000. And then next would be if we're looking to do the bond, or we are looking to do a bond, the bond fees associated with this so that the fees do not get pulled out of the bond once we go through that process. Next is historical resources. We have the Dyer Memorial Library roof is in desperate need of repair. That is for $82,500. Record preservation, this is the third or fourth time this is done by the town clerk for $35,000. The Wales Room, this is for a project through the Historical Commission for $10,000. The Wales Room in the library has a plethora of documents and other things that apparently also a phone that has messages from like the last 6 years that no one knew about. Includes maps and deeds from the 1800s that are just living there unpreserved in any way. So they want to do a quick inventory of that to understand what's there. Next is the historic preservation plan for $15,000. Same thing from the Historical Commission. This is to create a plan to determine the historical inventory in town and how to do some of these preservations. This has not been done since about the 70s, so it's a little behind. Next, under the housing budget, we have South Shore Habitat for Humanity is looking to purchase 871 Plymouth Street, so it's on the corner of Plymouth and Melbourne, and we are providing $150,000, which is about half the cost for the purchase of the home. And then Habitat for Humanity will work directly with affordable housing. We are not just giving money straight to a company. They will be working with the department directly. Next is the Housing Trust Fund for $250,000. And as you'll see some of these, and that's the last of the projects, as you'll see with some of these, in terms of the funding source this year, it was really cool. We were able to use quite a bit of our reserve funds from some of these buckets. We knew we were going to have significantly less matching from the state this year, so it was really nice to be able to say, okay, Memorial Field Complex Phase 1, the bond fees, you know, a good portion of the Housing Trust Fund. A lot of this came from reserves from years past where it just gets carried over, and we're able to really utilize those carryovers this year, which is nice to see, so.
Very good. I think if, a couple things, if I could. One, the moderator has asked me, I'm also the deputy town moderator, and he's going to recuse himself on this article.
Yeah.
And when I'll be handling for town meeting the article for community preservation. If you could do exactly what you just did here, and I think just give the overview, and then if there's any questions. The only thing, just so people understand, is that the people cannot amend or substitute. It's just simply the vote is whether to approve or disapprove.
Right, to approve the budget that we as a committee
That's
have
correct.
pushed forward, yep.
Yes. And the other thing that I wanted to actually give kudos to was to the Dyer Memorial Library trustees. As you probably know, we're on the putting together a fire station and DPW building project that was approved previously. And I had corresponded with Andy Burbine, who's on the Board of Trustees, to see if we could get some of the artifacts that they have there on old fire artifacts to display in the new station. The trustees have been most cooperative. I want to congratulate them. We do have to work with this Historical Society of Old Abington as well, because there's kind of joint ownership on some of that stuff. But I did want to make mention of that. Certainly the Dyer, even though it is a nonprofit and private organization, it does house a lot of the town's history. And in order to access this money, if town meeting approves it, there has to be some sort of a memorialization of an agreement between the Board of Selectmen and the trustees to release that money.
Yep, and it's similar to what one of the projects last year, and it's always, I love, as a history major, last year we had supplied or approved funds for the Mount Vernon Cemetery logbook and records, and they were just, it was really beaten up and it was starting to fall apart, and understandably, Mount Vernon is a private cemetery. It's not owned by the town, so there was an agreement created so that this would be stored actually with the Dyer and with the town, and it was actually brought back to us this year so we could see the restored book, and it was very exciting to see, you know, something that benefits the town but is still through private. There's ways that we can make this work that benefits everybody. I also want to point out one of the other articles that CPA will be a part of is not just the budget, but also the bond for Memorial Field. I want to make it very clear, this was something that we, you know, spent a lot of time discussing. It does not cost the town anything. All of this comes from this small little percentage off the taxes that everyone voted on for CPA funds. If you look this year under the open space recreation, we have almost $500,000 going this year to different projects. The memorial field for the next 20 years starts at $190,000. Kelly did a great job working with the town accountant, trying to figure out, what are the examples of what bonds would be available to us and what the cost would be. Because we didn't want to commit and say, yay, for the next 20 years, we put money in memorial field and we can't do anything else. That was not an option. So we really worked hard on that to understand if we have $190,000 all the way down to $100,000 at year 20, we still have so much money available in that bucket for other open space and recreation. And we've done so much just in the 3 years I've been on this committee for open space and recreation that it doesn't cost us anything to upgrade this beautiful town property that, as someone who's new to this town, I know it as the baseball field you can't slide on because you're gonna get pinched, and Oktoberfest, and it kind of gets muddy. Like, that's how I know it. And to see that there's gonna be huge improvements very quickly without cost to the taxpayers, I think is huge, and I think that needs to be.
Can I just correct you on one thing?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
It still is a cost to the taxpayers. Because,
Yes,
see,
but it does,
No additional cost.
no
No
additional
additional
cost,
cost,
thank you.
exactly.
Yes, it's still coming out, but I'm not asking for, can I please have another 500,000? Can I have another $1 million?
Correct.
It's something that we're making work.
And statutorily, it's money that's set aside that has to be spent on these particular items.
Exactly,
But it
yes.
still comes off the
Thank you.
taxpayers.
Yes, I mean, it's taxes.
Some
We're
people get-
Massachusetts, of course we have
yeah,
taxes,
some
but
people
yes,
get
I
itchy
appreciate
about
that
that.
clarification before I get eaten alive at the town meeting, so thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Are there any questions for Amanda? You've done a great
No,
job.
you did a great
Really
job.
good. Any,
Great, great, great.
Mr. Damasio, anything?
No questions, great job, thank you so much.
Very good. Well, thank you again, and we look
Thank you.
forward to that same presentation. Okay, charter review. Mr. Collins.
How you doing? My presentation clocks in about 2 hours, is that okay? Do I need
You'll
to
be
shorten it?
alone, how's that?
I get paid by the hour.
All right. I'm not quite sure how, I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I'm also happy to talk about anything at length, seriously, just because I understand this is the town's constitution for all intents and purposes, and I want to make sure people are educated about what it does, what we're looking to do. So just some quick background. Our charter requires us to undertake this review every 10 years. And so we've been working on this for about 18 months now. And we're recommending, how many different changes? We're recommending about, I think, 15 amendments, basically, to it. To get to this point, we met with a bunch of department heads, employees, people around town. We did a survey, a townwide survey, and we kind of came to some basic understanding of what people are kind of looking for. Some of it we can do through the charter, and some of it we can't. Like, people's complaint was we want lower taxes. Well, we can't do that through the charter. But there are things that we can adjust. So, for instance, we found that there wasn't a major interest in changing the form of government. The survey we sent out came back about 30% were interested in maybe a mayoral form, which more than we expected, but still it's not at this point raising to the level of, we need to tear apart the government. Is it worth monitoring? Sure. But at this point, open town meeting with a quorum and 5-member board of selectmen seem to be the way to go. So we're keeping that. The interest was more in increasing transparency and civic engagement with boards and committees throughout town. I don't think that should be a big surprise for anyone here, that we're looking for ways to get people more involved, engaged, understanding of what's happening in town hall through all our boards and committees. And a lot of the recommendations we have reflect that as a wind through. And some of it is just sometimes some updating. For instance, one of the biggest things we heard is, why is it still the Board of Selectmen? So we are recommending that we switch it to the Select Board, as many, many other towns have already done. So running through it, like I said, we have about 16 recommendations. Some of them are very much housekeeping, some of them are much more substantive. Required annual training, this is about again, I don't want to take up much more of your time. Do you want to go through each one, or just do you have
No, I
questions
think,
about specific
yeah,
ones?
I think if you could, Rick, just focus in on the housekeeping items, I guess we understand.
Yeah.
If you can focus in on the ones that were substantive changes, and then we can maybe have a discussion on that. But
Yeah. So we'll jump to B. The reason I want to bring your attention to that is because this is kind of a bigger policy.
B or D?
B. B as in boy. This is a bigger philosophical change where we're nudging boards and committees to adopt policies and rules of operation that welcome in more public engagement. And one of the ways we do that is basically saying we're going to start with the open meeting law, but we're going to take that as a floor and encourage boards to go beyond that. So for instance, under open meeting law, committees don't have to have public comment period, unless it's a registered public hearing or a legal public hearing. Frankly, we kind of think they probably should. At least figure out a way that at every meeting, there's a way to get people involved, to come to the discussion, to submit comment, testimony. Let's figure out how to do that. On a planning board example, we're required to notify abutters on certain matters. Well, why do we have to stop there? Why can't we go out for a broader range and get more people educated on what's happening and what we're talking about? It's little things like that that we're encouraging boards to kind of go beyond just kind of that bare minimum. D, vacancy appointment process. This was influenced by, we've had a lot of vacancies that your board has been dealing with lately. We did something where we basically broke it out into separate steps for if it's a elected office, so town clerk and moderator. If it's a elected board, so planning board, school committee, et cetera, or if it's an appointed board, so that's conservation, zoning, et cetera. And one of the things we did is when there's a vacancy on an appointed board, so for instance, let's say it's the planning board. Right now, the charter is silent as to who actually runs that joint meeting when the two boards come together. So technically, you could have two meetings going simultaneously and no one's actually leading it. So we make it very clear that no, the chairman of the Board of Selectmen is running that joint meeting. But we also say that it's the board with the vacancy that makes the first nomination to fill the vacancy. And then it switches back and forth after that. Otherwise, it's just, whoever shouts a name out first. And we think it should be a little bit more of a formalized process. And the other change to that that's notable is that for a person to be appointed, it needs to have a majority vote from both boards. It's not just one board versus the other, a total number. It's the planning board has to approve it and the Board of Selectmen has to approve it instead of just being like a 5-4 vote sort of situation. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think I can see a situation where it'll go unfilled, quite frankly.
Then you keep going.
Yeah.
So I think,
So both boards separately have to approve it.
yeah, at the joint meeting.
They're not working as one 9-member board.
Right. So that way, it's not seen as one board forcing a member onto another board that that they don't believe would be a good fit for that board. Make it kind of more like that bicameral approval process. Jumping down a little bit further, can you go down to H? I'm sorry, Scott. I, make it I, I'm sorry. Yeah, so annual budget process. What we did was effectively take out the concrete timeframes that are currently in there, because as we've heard, they just don't work in the modern budget writing process. It's too rushed, it's too confusing, and it's not followed anyway. So what we say is we take out those hard dates and say that the timeline is essentially established by the board, by the town manager through his financial policies. And, of course, in working with the finance committee. A couple things we do are recommending is that at the first meeting of the year is that he does give a formal budget presentation, both for the Board of Selectmen's sake as well as the public's sake. Just kind of an update, this is where we are, this is where we're going. And kind of give everyone on the same page that presentation is then uploaded to the website. This is something that a lot of other towns do, where they kind of have that, I don't want to call it a dog and pony show, but, you know, it's that formal presentation to kind of get everyone ready for what's coming. With the understanding it's a draft proposal, but this is where they're working towards. Presented it to the Finance Committee. They were okay with changing it to that way. And again, you still have your oversight roles as well. We didn't remove those, but more just taking a look at the timeline, I would say. K is the one where we're still kind of up in the air, unfortunately. This was, as you know, the police union has agreed with the town to remove itself from civil service. And so we have to take out of the charter language that says that sergeant and patrol appointments are made through the civil service process. The concern right now is that we don't have that whole process not finalized yet to what it would be. And both police and fire unions are concerned about moving on that before that's finalized and everything's in place. So we're looking for some sort of bridge language, essentially, that basically says that, you know, sergeants and patrol police officers are appointed through the manner prescribed in the collective bargaining agreement. You know, and if for some reason that's not there, then it's through civil service, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I had, to that point, we had a meeting today with the moderator and everybody, and one of the things, when I looked at the text for this, I was concerned on the language, and I gave town council my suggestions, because the intent, the meeting of the minds, if you will, which is a statutory, you know, when you collect a bargaining, you have to have a meeting of the minds. And the town manager informs me that it was the intent that the incumbents in the position would retain their Chapter 31, which is civil service status. I had given town council verbiage that I thought he should take a look at, because the language that was proposed, I don't think really addressed that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he was going to look at it. And in the same manner under L on the police chief's contract, I was a little ambiguous, only because I wrote this language many years ago, and I don't think it encompassed what the intent was, so I gave him language that, again, he's looking at to clean up. The only other comment I had in regards to that, in the motion, when you make your motion, there should be, and I think he's probably going to put it together, there has to be some sort of a language indicating that any approval of the amendments to the charter would then have to subsequently be approved at the 2025 annual town election. So that'll have to be in your motion.
Yep.
When it gets together. So.
Yep. So just to jump ahead for a quick second for the board's awareness, there's two avenues the town could take through this. The first is that we can approve it through town meeting and then send it up to the legislature as a special act, and the legislature goes through their process and passes it, and off we go. Their process has been very slow lately, and so I think it would actually be faster if we ratify it through a town vote, which would take place next April at the town elections. It means we need a 2/3 vote at this coming town meeting, and then to send it to the town election ballot next year. But I think that just it'll take much longer if we try to go the special act route.
I don't think you'd get it on the special act. The legislature, as a matter of policy, is not approving any removals from civil service.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And, you know, even our last charter change took, I think, 4 years for it to finally make it through the legislature. So it's be just as fast just to put it on the town election ballot. One other quick note, and this is on something that didn't get onto our final list of recommendations. We had several people mention to us about the wisdom of having town employees as elected officials in town, and we hemmed and hawed about it a lot. And I think what kind of turned it for us is that this current ballot, as you notice, we only have one competitive race, and we don't have anybody running for Board of Health. We have one of 2 seats. We have a candidate for 2 seats on their water board, and it's just becoming increasingly more difficult to get good candidates to run for office. And we just couldn't justify putting another impediment in the way. Plus, wording it in a way so that, you can still have maybe, a DPW worker running for school committee or a teacher running for library trustee. It kind of just got a little bit too much, and I don't think it would have accomplished what we hoped. So we voted to not recommend that on this bunch of charter amendments. That's kind of the other one. We will have a couple other recommendations for bylaw review when that process starts. But these are the ones we're recommending going forward at this time.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for Rick from the board?
Okay.
These have been all reviewed by town council now.
Yep, a couple of times. Yep. But happy to go over anything any questions anybody has on any of this.
When they vote on this at town meeting, can they amend from the floor?
My understanding is yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't have to post a public hearing to review them necessarily. And
Yeah, for town meeting, no.
yeah. So, all right. Thank you very much.
Very good, thank you very much, Rick. Okay, item number 7, vote to authorize the town manager to negotiate and enter into a license agreement for the residential use of 22 Bedford Street, which is the property currently that goes with Strawberry Valley Golf Course.
Yeah, that is correct. There's currently somebody living in that house there. The Strawberry Valley Golf Course Committee has been trying to enter into a lease agreement, but that is prohibited without first getting permission through town meeting. I don't know, it was done in the past, but to do it properly, this board can authorize a license agreement, which will work similar and all the same protections for the town and requirements. It'd just be an annual basis, so working with council on putting that together, just need you folks to authorize me to do it.
So moved.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, any discussion? If not, roll call, Mr. Damasio?
Yes.
Mrs. Jusberg?
Yes.
Mr. Chapin?
Yes.
I vote yes. Item number 8, vote on renewal of used article and pawnbroker's license. You have before you 4 applications, of which 2 are ready to be passed on by us. One being Designer Diva, 171 Brockton Avenue, and Whitman Estate Furniture, 800 Brockton Avenue. The other 2 have not completed their application process. What is the pleasure of the board? I'll accept a motion to approve Designer Diva and Whitman Estate Furniture. I'll make a motion to approve Designer Diva and Whitman Estate Furniture.
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
Approved. Second.
Second. Any discussion? If not, roll call, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mrs. DeJusper.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay, review of the annual town meeting warrant articles. What I am going to do is I'm not going to read them. We are hopeful, if the Board of Selectmen takes their positions on the articles tomorrow, the town manager can include that in the warrant. That'll go up on the website and will be printed to be handed out at town meeting. And if we could just kind of go down there, just one, the snow and ice costs, from free cash, $245,000. The Finance Committee recommends approval. I'll make a motion, we recommend approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Payment of prior year bills, Article 2, $15,276. Finance Committee recommends approval. I would make a motion to recommend favorable action. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mr. Jusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article number 3, payment of sick leave buyback from water receipts, $22,500. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move we take favorable action. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mr. Jusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 4, the police station camera system in the amount of $70,000 from free cash. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg?
Yes.
Mr. Chapin?
Yes.
I vote yes. The fiscal '25 operating budget, the town manager and the finance committee have come together in unison on this. I've discussed it in infinite detail with the town manager. I'm happy with his explanations that I had given to him. The question comes on moving the amount of $67,482,034. I would make a motion that the selectmen go on record as being approved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Funding of the capital plan items on the listed items that are in the operating budget. Finance Committee recommends approval of free cash as certified. Free cash was certified on Friday in the amount of roughly $2.6 million, of which that amount that they have recommended contingently to approve fits within the confines of that appropriation. I would therefore move the Selectmen recommend favorable action in concert with the Finance Committee on the capital plan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mr. Justburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 7, to purchase and equip a new fire engine, to borrow the amount of $900,000. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 7. Is there a second?
Yes.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. Justburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 8, the new town fuel island at the DPW facility to borrow $1.2 million as is required by our insurance company because it has underground tanks. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 8. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 9, the Community Preservation Fund. You've heard the recommendations of the chairman of the Community Preservation Committee. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 9. Is there a second?
A second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mr. Justburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. CPA borrowing for the Memorial Field. You've heard the recommendations of the chairman of the CPA Committee. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 10. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 11, the annual funding of student transportation, raise and appropriate $16,657. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 11. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 12, health imperative funding, raise and appropriate $5,000. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 12. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 13, ARC of the South Shore funding, to raise and appropriate $2,500. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 13. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mr. Justburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Articles, okay. These are zoning articles. The Finance Committee is deferring to the Planning Board on these, the FEMA, the Wetlands Bylaw. I have no preference other than the MBTA zoning because it's required. Does anybody have any concerns, or would you defer to the Planning Board, or because they're ancillary and updating the FEMA maps, is it something you want to go on record on?
I'll make a motion that we defer to the planning board for all planning board articles with the exception of Article 16.
Okay, so Articles 14 and 15 defer to the Planning Board. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 16, relating to the MBTA approval district. This has been recommended The Finance Committee recommends approval and has deferred to the Planning Board, however, this is a requirement of state law. And if we don't do it, we risk putting the town in jeopardy in terms of grants. So I think it's important that the Board of Selectmen take a position on this. I will therefore move favorable action on Article 16. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mr. Justburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 17, surplus disposal of land at 0 Linwood Street. Finance Committee recommends approval. This was for the purposes of the Habitat for Humanity that we had asked the town manager to look into. Finance Committee recommends approval. I'll move favorable action on Article 17. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Mr. Justburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 18, ban on nip bottles. I have a problem with this. I guess, as it relates to, and I guess you can go back in history to when the Commonwealth allowed, in their infinite wisdom, cities and towns to decide on their own smoking bans in restaurants. And it became a complete and colossal, I gotta be careful what I say, mess up. And as a result, the state then stepped in and made it a statewide ban. I think if they are going to do this for this purpose, it should be handled in the same manner. I do not think, by any stretch of the imagination, that individual communities should be deciding this issue. I think, notwithstanding the fact, and I want to clarify this, each and every morning, I have to pick up nip bottles in front of my house. So, but I think it's an unfair intrusion of government into free enterprise. But with that said, Finance Committee has deferred to the Board of Health. I am personally opposed to this, but I will be open to the board as to how you want to handle it. We can either recommend pass over, or you can defer it to the Board of Health and hear the debate at town meeting, whatever you're comfortable
I'll
with.
make a motion that the Board of Selectmen votes to pass over Article 18, the ban of nip bottles.
Motion made to pass over Article 18. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, question comes on passing over Article 18 on ban on nip bottles as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Roll call, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 19, stable license fees. This Finance Committee recommends passing over. This is statutorily, the Board of Health is required to inspect barns, the animal inspector. All this article does is creates a fee. If you're going to charge a fee, it has to go to town meeting. Again, I don't know. Having one who had animals and has a barn, and no longer has animals, so I'm not affected by this, but again, I go on the premise that how many barns do we have left in town that need inspection at $40? So I guess the question becomes, what do you want to do? The Finance Committee's recommended pass over. We can wait to hear the debate. It's entirely, in deference to the Board of Health. They are elected. They can make their case to town meeting, and we can decide at town meeting. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that we recommend to pass over Article 19, stable license.
Motion made to pass over. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. Chapin, Ms. DeJustburg, I'm going too fast. Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 20, Senior Citizen and Veteran Tax Work-Off. Finance Committee recommends approval. This is the Senior Citizen and Veteran Tax Rebate Program. I move favorable action on Article 20. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJustburg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 21, accrued liabilities and the compensated absences fund. It's a fund for sick leave buyback. It's required under GASB 34. Finance Committee recommends approval based on the free cash being certified. I would move favorable action on Article 21. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin?
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 22, Unemployment Reserve Fund, again, required by GASB 34, in the amount of $106,000 from free cash. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 22. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin?
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 23, to close the fund deficits. This is deficits from the prior fiscal year, from free cash, the amount of $3,684.37. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 23. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin?
Yes.
I vote yes. Support of grant funding, Article 24, a sum of money has been at $50,000.
That is correct, sir.
Would come from free cash. This would support the application of grant funding. I move favorable action at $50,000 on Article 24. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 25, to revoke the opioid settlement stabilization fund. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 25. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 26, the charter amendments. FinCom is deferring to charter review. I personally would like to wait to hear on, I think town council has to clean up some language on some of that, and I'd really like to take a look at it, at least before I want to vote on it just yet. We can certainly vote on it on the floor if we have to.
So I'll make a motion that we
Defer
to the Charter Review Committee.
Motion made to defer to charter review. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 27, Griffin's Dairy Farm Well Project, in the amount of $50,000 from free cash. Finance Committee recommends passing over. However, Griffin's Dairy Well is a project that supports the community garden. It's within the appropriation of certified free cash. I will move favorable action on Article 27. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Establish a residential waste pickup enterprise fund. This is something to be on the books for something in the future, not particularly this year. Finance Committee recommends approval. I'll move favorable action on Article 28. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Article 29, the amount of $10,000 in free cash for the 2025 St. Patrick's Day Parade overtime funding. Finance Committee recommends approval. I move favorable action on Article 29. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Mr. Damasio.
Yes.
Ms. DeJusberg.
Yes.
Mr. Chapin.
Yes.
I vote yes. So there you have it. Now, Mr. Moderator.
Just clarify your vote on the operating budget, Article 5.
Yep.
I think you supported the dollar amount of $67,482,034. That's the total, including those three articles that are raised and appropriate. So I
Oh,
think-
right, right.
So the appropriate number for the operating budget is $67,457,877.
Okay, so noted without objection. Thank you. The town manager's report.
Well, I think you have it.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was pretty much what we've been up to for the past several weeks, is working on our budget, getting it balanced, getting it down to an agreement with the Finance Committee. It was a very difficult year. We had a lot of needs from the departments and requests that unfortunately had to go unfilled to get to this point. We were lucky that we did have some some abilities to make some adjustments in our, mostly in our healthcare, and moving some purchases into capital that probably would be in operating in the future. But we managed to do it. Again, it was a tough year. I expect next year to be even tougher, so we'll have a lot of talks on that going forward.
I do have to commend you and the staff. I think going into this year, it was very uncertain. I mean, clearly, the state hasn't come through with the local aid that they normally would for various and sundry reasons. As long as the state upholds their end of the bargain and keeps the cherry sheet figures at what the governor's budget was proposed, and then the question really becomes, is that may not hold, but, you know, we can only go with the best information we have at the current time. So I think you've done a great job in terms of the budget operation for that, and we can get through one more year, hopefully unscathed. We just would, before we adjourn, I just want to, again, make an appeal to the residents of the town to please, please, please show up at town meeting on next Monday, April 1st at 7 p.m. at Abington High School, only because a quorum of 150 is required. We do have to have the quorum in order to enact the business of the town. And as you can see, it's been a lot of work that's gone into this. There will be, I'm sure, lively debates on several items, which is everybody's right. That's why we call it a democracy. Everybody has the right to come down and express their opinion and vote accordingly. So we would encourage everybody, if you're looking for more information, again, the Abington CAM TV will be hosting the town manager and the town moderator for an explanation of town meeting, and as it relates to the MBTA article relating to zoning. There is information up on the planning board's website, but also CAM TV will be running that on a periodic basis. So with that said, there's no further business. I just remind the board that we will be meeting at 6 p.m. next Monday evening at the high school, just to clean up anything that comes into the office between now and then. As a result of town meeting being next week, we will not meet on our regular meeting on April 8th, and we'll pick it up again on the fourth Monday in April, just prior to the town election, which is April 27th. So, with all that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Mr. Damasio?
Yes.
Mrs. DeJusper?
Yes.
Mr. Chapin?
Yes.
I vote yes. Good evening, and thank you.